Hello, beautiful people, and welcome back to a new episode of Let's Crack It. Today, we are again with my friends and co-host, Phil, which is SEO and marketing specialist. And today, we're going to tackle some really important topics, which are explore a little bit the search engine algorithm and how to really better understand how those algorithms really works, and somehow we would like probably to demystify a little bit this search engine algorithm. What do you think, Phil?
Yeah, I can try my best. Hello, everybody, and yeah, welcome to the fifth episode. Fifth
Yeah.
episode. Yes, we're almost through. We can almost call this a project and close it, right? No,
Yeah.
just kidding. Don't worry. We have a lot of ideas, but we still can what we still can talk about. But for now, algorithms is the main topic today, and I assume each one of you that's listening and tuned in today and is here right now, very carefully listening to what we have to say, has also been listened to the other episodes. If so, everybody not. If not, also not. Never mind. I just recommend, if you haven't, maybe listen to the fourth episode that we had last week. And because there I went into SEO and organic marketing simplified. That was kind of like an intro where I tried to explain as humanly possible what you actually have to do to rank your articles. But today we are not really talking about the specific and the tactics and tips on how to rank. Today I would like to explain to you that algorithms are no evil. First of all, where are search engines? Everywhere these days, basically. So I guess the most common search engines that just comes to your mind is probably Google or Bing or Yandex, or what's the Chinese called? I think Baidu, I think, yeah. But
I don't even know.
yeah, they have their own because they restrict everything that is non-party conform
Outside of China, yes.
out of it, yeah. Yes, so these are probably the most common that you will be or you are using, I'm very sure, on a daily basis. But what about Instagram? What about Twitter? What about Facebook? What about Pinterest? What about Flickr? What about LinkedIn? And even Microsoft has its own one. If you are working in a corporate company, you have a thing called Yammer. I think they changed the name, but you see, I don't use it, but it's kind of a social media platform within your company where everybody can show what they just had for breakfast. Or it used to be like that last time I used it, yeah. Anyway, these are all search engines or search engine algorithms, bots, crawlers, whatever you want to call it. But they actually function all pretty similar, if not alike. What do I mean with that? Everybody here is listening is probably 99.9% or even 100% is on a social media platform. Oh yeah, I forgot, even Spotify is an algorithm. Even Spotify is a search engine. But yeah, we'll get back to that. Just came to my mind because this is on Spotify, obviously. So yes. Yeah, back to search engines. Yeah, what you do is you are on social media. You are looking for a term pretty much, or you are being asked for your interests. In the very beginning, let's say you set up Twitter or X, sorry, if you set up X these days, such a lame word, sorry, but I don't like it. You are being prompted some interests that the algorithm should be showing you tweets and information that is already to tune the algorithm to your desires, basically. Mm-hmm. That brings me to the first myth. Algorithms are against me. No, it's not. You are against the algorithm, most likely, because you don't understand what they actually want from you. So the search engine always wants to deliver. It's like a dog. He always wants to make you happy. It wants to show you whatever you are looking for, whatever you are interested in. And therefore, it needs to understand what it is that you are looking for. In social media, it happens a little bit on the subtle note because big search engines like Google and Bing, they don't really, they do track you, but it's not so aggressively like those social media algorithms do it. So anytime you look at a piece of content, you read something or you reach out to people and write a comment, more on that later, the algorithm understands what your interests are. And by that, I mean, best example, TikTok. On TikTok, you open this app and it just smashes stuff in your face. And what you actually can do is, as long as you just scroll them through, you actually give the signal to the algorithm like, hey, I'm not interested. But if you watch like 3 seconds, it knows, okay, this was interesting for him or her. Or if you watch it longer or even to the end, it gives a clear signal like, okay, you're interested in baking recipes, for example. And then you get to see more. And that's how it's actually developing. Best example on so-called a filter bubble, because that's what we all are in. Sorry, my English, I kind of have heavy tongue today. So during COVID, you had all these people that have found some facts and figures that somehow are made up. I don't want to open this discussion here. It's to everybody's own. I don't judge anybody. But what is happening, like these people have been living in the so-called filter bubble, because when they were like searching for certain content online in the search engine knew that you are interested. So it was actually presenting you more of that because it just wants to satisfy you. It wants to be sitting there with a whipping tail like, ha, 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 did you like what I just showed you? This is actually how it's happening. So the more such stuff you watch, the more you are being presented of that likely content of that kind. So how can you do that to your advantage? I always distinguish between two kinds of people that use search engines. I now take away Google and Bing, for example. I'm now talking about social media algorithms and search engines. You can either widespread and just follow whatever you're interested in, cat videos, dog videos, cooking, baking recipes, and everything. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. You just have to know that like, hey, okay, you want to see more, just go and watch a little bit more of these things. So actually you're giving these signals to the bot. If you are actually becoming a creator or you want to start, let's call it influencer, quote unquote, and you want to actually reach your target audience, then it's important that you are not being distracted by different content that doesn't suit your niche, respectively, your audience. Good example, I have a friend, he's a photographer. He's a very good photographer, by the way. And my wife, she often sends him some dog videos because it's funny. He loves also dogs. And so he always watched these reels. And at some point, you could see his explore page was all images, photography tips, camera thing. And on the lower right bottom, he had a dog reel popping up. Then he was sending my wife a screenshot. It's like, look what you did to my algorithm. It was fine-tuned and you destroyed it. And she was like, yeah, you shouldn't watch it, But this is a very good example how it actually works. So again, if you want to see more of a certain kind of topic, just try to consume more. So you actually communicate with the dog. I call it now the dog, that, hey, look, this is great, fetch me another one. This is great, fetch me another one. So he spins back and forth. Yes, and then the whole engagement comes into play. If you engage with accounts that have a similar interest that you want to be positioned in, you should go about just talking to them, meaning reaching out via direct messages, for example, or maybe first start just writing comments. And by comments, I don't mean meaningless comments like fire, thumbs up, great stuff, you deserve more growth. That's all platitudes that nobody needs. But like I said in the previous episode, add to the conversation. So somebody makes a piece of content and you have maybe something to say. Easiest example is always people share a lot of tools these days. And I often add like another tool that could be also useful, because what is happening, other people see your comment as well. And it's basically you posting into another post. And again, by commenting there, you just get more attention. So people actually become aware of who you are and what you post about. Hence, they come to your profile and they might, in best case scenario, convert into a follower. And that's what you want. But that's only on social media. Of course, as I said, search engines like Google and Bing, for example, or Yandex, the Russian one, work similar, but they do not present you anything unless you prompt them. I take now the advertisements out in this case. On Google, you basically do the same stuff that you do on Twitter in the beginning. You just ask for stuff. You just ask for like, hey, look, I'm looking for, let's go back to yoga. Looking for the best yoga poses to do before I can do a headstand, for example. And then the puppy runs back into the library, comes back and is like, hey, look, I found this. Check this out. Because basically Google and these search engines function like a huge library or librarian. That's a difficult word to say, librarian in a huge library. They actually know all the content that has been posted. I say it specifically posted to the internet, because for me, it's kind of this platform. And they just remember when you ask that person, that librarian, like, hey, look, I'm looking for this book or need like information about that. They know like, hey, okay, wait, I have this page, this website. On that page, there is this and this content. I'm just going to show you. You can then decide if it's good or not. And while you're clicking on that, I just mentioned before, the ads are not so important right now. But if you then click on that, it's being, it's being registered that you are interested by that.
Right.
Again, you look at that piece of content and the search engine knows what are your interests. So actually on the search engines, the ad will be coming in as like, or automatically presenting you information. So I guess it happened to everybody of you out there that you are looking for some sneakers, red sneakers, and then suddenly everywhere you are, you see red sneakers, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's called a remarketing campaign in ads. So what you can do is I can, for example, it's getting a bit technical, but I quickly want to explain that. If I have a website or a web shop where I sell where I sell shoes, I can actually check my competitor's website and see what traffic goes there. I can build up a lookalike audience and say like, hey, everybody who visits CARLOCICCARELLIShoes.com, I want to show them my ads with my shoes.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So that is actually then how you get to see these ads. But that's a little bit more advanced and I don't want to go too deep into it.
Okay.
I just want to tell you guys out there, algorithms should be your friend. It's your Tamagotchi, your pet, your dog, your little AI robots that you can actually train. And by train is just purposefully watch content and don't give too broad of interests. I have about 5 Instagram accounts that I have actually tuned down to certain interests that I actually use, because it's just easier for me and it's easier for the both of us. And I'm speaking for me and the algorithm, that we both know what we want to be watching. So it's kind of like a nerdy approach, but it also helps me. I have also this dumpster Instagram account that if I do a research for a client, for example, I use that one where I just go and like check competitors or new keywords, where I have like yoga, and then I have like printing, and then I have like water damage, sanitation, whatever. And so if I would do that on my main account on thbp.design, follow me, by the way.
Exactly.
Little advertisement here. But if I would be doing that, the algorithm would be confused and wouldn't know, like, hey, is he now into yoga? So I show him yoga pictures or yoga reels or whatever. And that's pretty much about it. Just imagine a search engine be a huge library, or like just a librarian in a huge library where just everything is registered.
Sometimes I think, apart from this, which is pretty clear, I would say, because everybody that is, I don't know, even searching like on Amazon, that's my first place, right? Where I have to buy, again, I don't know, a new piece of tech or something, because I'm really techie. And I always go on Amazon and I start to do some research. And after I go on YouTube to understand if this piece of tech is right for me, or to know all the specs. And basically the day after, I have everywhere in my inbox, everywhere I have all these banners from Amazon, like,
Right.
okay, you can buy this and that, and I have my ads about this piece of tech. And it's crazy. Also, sometimes I don't know if it's me, maybe I completely wrong, but sometimes it's also related to a specific period of time, right? Like during the year, sometimes they sort of promote, or it shows up something more frequently. Like, for example, I don't know, if you are close to end of November, December, even though you don't think that you need to start to think about, presents for your kids or for your wife or something like that, sometimes you see that some ads, like this Christmas thing that start to comes out, and say, oh Jesus, I have to buy something for my kids, right? And so you start to think about, and you start to go into this loop where I start to search for kids, I don't know, gift for Christmas, or I don't know, like 5 years old kids, a gift for Christmas. And then also I guess the algorithm understand that you have a 5 old kids, right? And start to present you something that is really close to what you're searching for. Yeah.
Right. That's where the algorithm makes it easier for us men to buy our wives a present, because they're like, hey, your wife likes this, maybe you should buy that. And they're like, okay. Right. Yeah, but this is exactly how it works, and I just seen, like, during this, I mean, maybe to just like explain, I used to fall kind of victim to one of these online business, I wouldn't say scammer. It wasn't really scam, but of course it works for a couple of people, and for the most it doesn't work. But what he did is, like, it was called the wealthy affiliate. Actually, they taught me SEO. So what he did is, like, yeah, that blogging, I mean, it was 2017, I think, or even 16. Like, yeah, blogging is, you just write stuff, you do keyword research, you write articles, and people find it. And all these articles are not just written and people accidentally find it, but these articles are written based on what people are looking for. So it's kind of like starting the maze from the center to get to the entry. And that actually turned the switch in my head, and I was like, oh, this is how the internet works. This is crazy. Like, nobody ever teaches you that. And I was like, huh. So I started to be, like, kind of a little bit more critical on, like, whatever I see or whatever is being presented on Google for me, because I realized, like, okay, it's not just like I found this, but this was written for people that look for stuff that I just did. And yeah, and in COVID, actually, it just showed me that, like, it can be actually quite dangerous if you have people in certain bubbles. I mean, it's not just COVID. I mean, you have these, yeah, just bring bad examples like white supremacists and stuff, like, hey, okay, because they always live in that stuff, and that's what interests them, and they just find only that things, and they can actually become quite joking, because you don't find a way out if you don't understand that this is working, because all you see is actually what you believe is true, so it must be true, right? So you're gonna have a hard time to just disconnect and, like, get out of this box and, like, maybe look over it. Of course, a lot of people also don't want that if they are in these kind of bubbles, but that's definitely kind of a dangerous dangerous example of, yeah, where search engines actually can be a little bit disadvantageous. Same as, like, you can always tweak them. We mentioned in the beginning the Chinese one. When I was in China, I told you before that I spent a month in China. When I opened up Chrome browser and looked and I typed the website, I couldn't find it, because the Chrome browser goes via Google. Google is banned in China. So I actually had to either type the URL correctly, www.namedomain.com, and then I found it. Or I had to go on Baidu and use that search engine. So again, this is the government there deciding what people should be seeing and what not. Brings me also to an example of, I had a friend who was from Saudi Arabia, and I don't know if it's true, but he was always very careful of what he's like Googling or like searching in the internet, because in Saudi Arabia, everything is strictly under this religious regime. No offense to anybody out there.
Absolutely.
He actually told me some Arabian, so it was quite nice to chat with him. But anyway, he came to Austria and he figured out like, hey, I'm very interested in all these UFO and alien stories and what is out there, you know. And then we started to talk about that, and he felt like uneasy and was like, yeah, it's okay. Hey, look, I don't judge you. I kind of also get into that rabbit hole of like finding all these mysteries because they are interesting, right? But he said like they're all blocked in Saudi Arabia. I cannot prove that, but that's what he told me, because they just did not want people thinking too broadly. And again, I think that there is algorithms that are man-made and man-made or controlled by human beings. Now I have it. Can be actually turned into or can be weaponized in some sort.
Indeed.
And
the problem is that most of the people doesn't even know that this happens actually.
Exactly.
Sometimes.
Exactly. We just had an intern in July in our company, and I explained him that this is working. He was just like looking at me like, "What?" It's like, "What? You guys don't learn that at school?" I think that's kind of this important that you guys would understand. Like, utilize these search engines, but you are the little like be careful also with that stuff. I mean, it's like 300 years ago, the priest was basically Google, right? You went to church every Sunday and he was preaching anything to you, and like you were like, oh, this is the man that has seen the world and like is educated, so whatever he says goes. And that's why you start burning down witches, right? I mean,
yes, exactly.
Yes, different. It's maybe a crass comparison, but you see it. Like if you don't like get this broad thinking and like do your own research, that's what they always say in crypto. Don't just follow people that shill you some coin and put all your money in. Do your own research and just try to do the extra mile and figure it out. But again, that doesn't apply to products. It's pretty good if you're looking for like some sort of service or products. Like there is no harmful thing in the back except we want to reach into your pocket and get that money out. But that's what we are all out. That's what we are all out there for.
So. Yeah, exactly. Mainly, I would say on social media. That's the point, right? Also,
right.
To reach broader audience and to start to show that you know shit about your specific niche, and that you can help people that need help on that specific niche, right? So
exactly.
That's where we want to go, right? And actually, the social media on my side, for example, has always been a sort of, I would say, a place where I just want to spend a little bit of time just scrolling through, I don't know, bullshit or, comics or comedian or something like that, right? So this is, and I think, and I see it with close friends or close people to me, that if you don't realize actually that you are just giving to this search engine and all this, big social medias, all your interest and everything that you do, basically just scrolling through or being interested into these topics, you go basically into a loop where you don't go out, right?
Exactly.
And instead, what I would like to suggest to everybody, and I'm taking this for a lesson also for myself, is that so social media and the algorithm of those social media should be really tailored to have some advantages from this, not only using social media to show up how beautiful you are, right? Or
Right.
because there is a
That
lot of
fades.
business opportunities there, and in fact, as you said, um, it's like being if you are in a conversation with others and you have to show up and tell them that you are there and what they are talking about, right? So, and this is where there are the connections, and connection brings other connections, and your audience expands, and then you can actually be in a position where you can also sell your experience at that point.
Right, exactly. And I used to be in a podcast with some other guys from Infinitive Creative Podcasts, actually cool guys. And we also spoke about that. And one of the guys always says, create before you consume. And I think it's actually a nice thing to just step out there and just create something. Like, use it, like people will see it. And I believe that maybe in 10 years from now, actually having a nice social media profile about whatever you are enthusiastic about could be also helping you getting a job at some point,
Yes.
because it's all out there. It's also out there if you rant about politics and stuff. That's why I always keep away from it, because it's just has no value for me. It's just
Yes.
angry people tweeting about whatever is fucked up in a country, even though they just should go in front of the door and they would see like, hey, it's actually not so bad. But if you are just in that bubble again, you kind of like get congested in a way.
Yes.
And just guys, hey, and girls and ladies and boys, whatever is listening out there, just take a leap of faith. Nobody's gonna laugh about you. I was so scared to do the first reel. I was like,
Me too.
how I'm gonna be filming myself, like I'm gonna be looking ridiculous. And I actually figured out a lot of things about me while watching myself talking, like that I sometimes don't really move my lips and then it gets slurry. And I could hardly understand myself, because when I speak and I hear myself, I always know what I want to be saying. But if I have to listen to a recording of mine, it gets a bit blurry to understand. Or I also, because I have a Tourette syndrome, I sometimes, like when I had the camera running and I did some thinking, I actually realized I have some more tics that I wouldn't even notice before. It's actually it was quite an interesting journey. And but I
Nice.
think that it's actually a very good skill if you are able to create content in any form. If video is not your forte, that's okay. You can learn how to do design a little bit. How to make research, whatever your life is bringing upon at some point. Maybe you found a company, you also need to know how to do a market research or a competitor analysis, or you understand how algorithms work, what we just explained to you. You're welcome, people. But it has a lot of good benefits. And that is coming from a person who was denying all the social medias up until like 7 years ago. I mean, I was always saying it's all crap, I don't need that, it's just time consuming. But you can do it time wasting, like going on TikTok, for example. I open TikTok, 45 minutes is gone. I know exactly why I don't have TikTok on my phone, because it just sucks me in. Or you can create something where you just have your post that you post, you do like your half an hour of engagement, and it's kind of a video game for me also. If I get followers and comments and people actually reach out to you, that's kind of a gamification, and it's addictive in a way. And you also get to meet cool people like CARLO, like we met on Twitter, right? I mean, you never know what kind of option this opens for you. So use the algorithm. It's not against you. Tweak it, show him, her, it, what you want to be seeing, and take a spin on it.
Exactly. Yeah, it's amazing. Actually, yeah, I want to highlight the fact that we are building this in public, right, Phil?
Exactly.
So this is really the 5th episode, and we're going probably to do a lot more. And we already have some good people that we can interview to know their story, and to tailor their story around the main topics of this podcast, which is SEO and product design and marketing, etc., and how they succeeded actually putting in place some of those strategies to be even more visible and successful. So be careful. Stay here, stay tuned, because there will
Right.
be a lot of new topics and new people to interview. So we'll not be just me and Phil talking, about these topics. And so I think it's a wrap up. So thank you very much, Phil, for all your knowledge, and it's always really interesting to know this from an expert. So I would say thank you guys for listening, and see you in the next one.
Yeah, see you guys. Take care, everybody.